Adam, one last thing.
Wait, we're going live. Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is December the 25th, 2020. Strong hand, long-term thinking. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. One day closer to an all-time high. Well, look, another day, another all-time high. 1 minute closer, baby. All right, one day closer to $1 trillion market cap. How about that? Golden age of the 2020s. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. In motion, 5-digit realm, conviction. Compete, don't complain. Welcome, guys. Hello, my elite friends. It is time for This Week in Bitcoin. Do you have questions or answers? I've got answers. You've got questions. These guys got answers. You can type in BitcoinMeister in the chat. We'll answer your questions or do a super chat. All right, we've got 3 great returning guests here on December 25th. The Bitcoin Rabbi is here, Brekkie is here, and Gigi is in the house. So we're going to talk about of course, the big news from this week, all the Yenta stuff out there, and your predictions for the year to come, and what the great stories from this year. But let's just get that noise just off our chest and just fire everybody up here. And we're going to start with the Ripple situation, and I'll start with Brekkie on this. The SEC is going to take some enforcement action against Ripple, and it's not Bitcoin, obviously. There's kind of a panic among the altcoiners. Well, there was earlier this week. A lot of people were selling altcoins. A lot of people were selling Ripple. There actually funds out there. I mean, this is the biggest story for me, is that they're actually, like Bitwise and other institutions, they had like all this exposure to Ripple, and it's just amazing that these so-called intelligent organizations actually had so much Ripple to begin with. I can understand that the average Joe 80%er out there, he wanted to diversify for the sake of diversification. He wanted a cheap Bitcoin, etc. But it's just shocking that these institutions even owned it. Anyway, what's your take on the Ripple situation, Brekkie, on Bitcoin?
Well, I'll try to rein in my jubilance and my schadenfreude here, but I actually think it's a great thing for Bitcoin if we take advantage of the situation. You talked about how a lot of the people in the altcoin community were freaking out a little bit, and I kind of think that's even the wrong approach if you're a multi-coiner or shitcoiner. I never considered Ripple XRP a crypto even. It's this pseudo crypto. It's been this. We've all known it's either a scam or they've been doing these really horrible business practices the whole time. Like, it was obvious to anyone who was kind of paying attention. And so I see a lot of people from the altcoin community saying we need to rally together, and why are Bitcoiners pooping all over XRP and laughing, I just think that's wrong. Like, even if you're not a Bitcoiner or a Bitcoin maximalist, you shouldn't want to be lumped in with Ripple. Like, they were just the worst of the worst, wolf in sheep's clothing.
Continue. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no worries. And so it's I don't know. Like, we'll see what plays out. My worry is that they have a lot of money and they can pay for great lawyers, and maybe they'll get out of it with paying heavy fines. But I don't know. I kind of get the sense that from what I've been reading and from what the lawyers on Twitter are talking about, that they may not get off so easy, and I hope so. And I think the real important takeaway from this, and Gigi was writing about this. I think he was quoted in Forbes or something, but basically that this highlights the fallibility of centralized altcoins or scams or whatever you want to call them. And it highlights the importance of decentralization and why Bitcoin is so special. So overall, I think it's a good thing. Hopefully more, retail stops getting dumped on and people wise up a little bit, but who knows? We'll see.
The rumor is that Coinbase will delist because if it's, well, think about it. If there's going to be SEC enforcement on a coin,
Yep.
and they're about to go public, they can't they can't list a coin that, I mean, they're getting scrutiny from the government on one end. They can't be dealing with something that's getting scrutiny from the government.
Well, yeah, but if they're going to do that, well, then they've got what, about 1,000 coins on there right now that also deserve scrutiny. They need to take a real look in the mirror and see what other coins they're supporting that might come under scrutiny in the days to come.
All right, let's since you referenced Gigi in a Forbes article here, let's hear Gigi's take on the situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to what Brekkie already mentioned. I mean, what I was quoted saying there is that the whole idea of Bitcoin is to create something that is like a natural resource that is just there and nobody is behind it. And everything else fails to have this property. So grouping XRP and other shitcoins with Bitcoin is a category error in the first place. So if commentators are commenting on those news and mentioning Bitcoin, they're making a grave category error. And I like what Brekkie had said in regards to Coinbase. You know, that like there are hundreds and thousands of these shitcoins that are clearly securities, that are clearly centrally controlled. And yeah, we're probably gonna see a continued crackdown on those. I hate to cheer this on because, in my opinion, you know, people also have the freedom to get wrecked and by these scams, and we shouldn't cheer on our enemies in the end too much. But of course, it's also it's well, let's say it's it probably accelerates the education of the masses. You know, like there is a difference between Bitcoin and shitcoins, and this is one of the differences. And some people have a hard time learning this without getting burned, and so many people are going to get burned, and this furthers the education effort. So that's how I see it. Hey,
Gigi, sorry to interrupt, but I've always wanted to know, Gigi, what is the correct pronunciation of Schadenfreude? How do I say it?
Yeah, you're spot on. It's Schadenfreude, so you're really good. Schadenfreude is perfect. Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting, Ed.
Well, no, I'll say this. I'm not cheering it on either. I think if you want to produce your own centralized digital currency, because it's not really a cryptocurrency, and I mean, you should be able to do it. I mean, whatever. Let people will learn the hard way. If people cannot grasp the difference, like Ripple has an office. Ripple can be sued. I mean, now it's just like in your face, obvious the difference between decentralization and centralization. Still, people don't. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to go down with the ship. They are individual investors, though. As I said, the ones that the institutional people who held bunches of it, that's probably where most of the dump was coming from. And you know, a lot of people are saying this is the end of altcoins. I don't believe that for a second. I mean, there are always going to be new gimmicks. There's always, people are always going to want the next Bitcoin. They're always going to diversify for the sake of diversification. I mean, those institutions were blindly diversifying for the sake of diversification in the Ripple. They didn't know what they were buying. I really don't think they did. All right, Bitcoin Rabbi, your take on this.
Yeah, so there's the balance here that Bitcoiners have of not wanting to cheer on the government enforcement so much, but I kind of see it as, you know, we know what governments do. We know what the SEC is. We know what securities fraud and securities crimes are. It's not so much of like cheering that we really, you know, want the government to take people down, but I see it like if your friend is out in the woods and like covering himself in honey, and you're like, "Hey, man, the bees are gonna get you," you know, and they don't listen. I mean, what they were doing, the way that they misrepresented themselves, they changed their website. That, I mean, it was really malicious behavior on the part of Ripple. And what was so terrible about it is that every time you try and talk to somebody about Bitcoin, you know, a friend, a neighbor, you know, my UPS driver, like, they're like, what about XRP? I hear it's really cheap and I hear great things. I don't know where these people are getting the information from, because it wasn't even available on Coinbase, you know, until 2019.
Ellen DeGeneres and Ashton Kutcher. I got a call from my mother saying, "Have you heard about XRP?" And I
and Bill Clinton and all of these. So that's the thing, is that it was just frustrating to see that literally 2 days before this SEC thing happened, I was talking to a group of my former classmates. We have chat groups, and I said, Bitcoin made a new all-time high, as Bitcoiners do when that happens. You've got to let them. And I had two people who had never mentioned anything about Bitcoin before said, "Oh, I bought XRP. Is that still around? What's going on with it?" And it's just like facepalm. So I'm glad to see that what the inevitable was, it did end up happening. And I don't, based on from what I've heard from the crypto lawyers, it doesn't seem like they're going to get there. The way that this lawsuit was worded and the extensiveness of it, it doesn't seem like they're going to get off. Like it could be the first cryptocurrency to actually go to zero besides for BitConnect. I mean, other than that, cryptos don't really go to zero. Whatever Dogecoin still not Dentacoin is still worth something or still trades somewhere. But this, if it actually gets delisted from every major exchange, and if the Ripple Corporation is, I don't know, dissolved or something, I mean, it doesn't exist. Like, then it will cease to exist. So that's kind of interesting to see, just for the fact of curiosity. What will it look like to actually watch a cryptocurrency die, and one that's have such magnitude? So I'm kind of excited just for, that's kind of a new, even, BCH and BSV, they haven't died yet. That's going to be part of the evolution. We've seen the genesis of cryptocurrency, and then, as time goes on, we'll see what it looks like when the tide comes in. We'll see what actually happens.
Yeah, I think that is a very interesting point. Is it going to go the BitConnect way? Because BitConnect disappeared. So pound that like button for that observation there, everybody. I really like that one. These altcoins, is there going to be future prosecution by the SEC on some other ones? I assume there will be. And for that reason, they serve as a shield for Bitcoin, because people are like, oh, Bitcoin, the government's going to try to shut down Bitcoin. No, the government's having fun with these altcoins. They get to show to their constituency, oh, we're taking care of you. Look, these mean cryptocurrencies, they try to take advantage of you, and now we're taking them out one by one. So they serve as a shield. And Rabbi, you said it's good to see, or it's interesting to see, that the inevitable has happened to Ripple. The inevitable has not happened yet. I think that the inevitable is the BitConnect thing. So I don't know if that will happen though. So maybe it's not inevitable. But real quick from you guys, Bitcoin Rabbi, you gave your take on this. But Brekkie and Gigi, do you think it will go the way of BitConnect? Do you think it will disappear, or will it linger forever?
It's really hard to say what's going to happen, because I just have a hard time navigating the shitcoin space in general. Because, for example, there's so many, there's still so many XRP army soldiers that are saying, like, they're buying this dip and they will hold for the next 100 years or whatever. And I'm just having a hard time believing that this is real. But then again, there are many uninformed people, so it might as well be real. So that's really sad to see. But if it actually goes to zero, I have no idea. Like there are coins traded of like there are shit coins traded that have been dead since years, and they still have like a market price, even though they don't really exist anymore. So I have no idea. Like, we'll see. I agree with you that it's a shield, and it's it's a nice bait for the government, because it feels to them that they can actually do something about it. But again, I think it's a category error too.
I got a better question. I got a better question out there. In a year from today, or let's say January 1st, 2022, well, it's kind of, what's been annoying about Ripple to me is that since it's not really a cryptocurrency, to see it number 3 and number 4 on CoinMarketCap like every day, I mean, that was quite an accomplishment that they got it up there. I mean, that I think that was a big goal of theirs. I mean, that's good marketing. But do you think it'll still be in the top 10 on January 1st, 2022?
Well, that's also potentially good manipulation. You look at some of the documents coming out and some of the internal emails with Garlinghouse and all this stuff. It's like, it's up there because they got it up there. Which is the one thing I just want to add to this is, like, if you support a cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin that has the possibility of getting taken down in the same way as Ripple, well, then then it's not even a cryptocurrency. You know, what purpose does it serve? You know, if it has this sort of attack surface, then it's not revolutionary whatsoever. And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
I want to tie it back into Bitcoin real quick. If they totally get blasted by the SEC, and it's not just a fine, like shutting down the offices and everything, and it will be big news. My prediction is that there might be the Bitcoin price actually might go down temporarily, just because it'll be a bad story for cryptocurrency. But all the money will flow into Bitcoin, and I think we've seen that this week. Some of that Ripple money flow into Bitcoin. So I don't know.
Adam, I'm going to disagree with you there. I think that any bad news for Ripple will be good for Bitcoin, because it emphasizes and highlights the contrast. I don't think that people are going to make the people that hold Ripple and are getting, sued. I don't think they're going to say, well, the SEC came after us, they're coming after Bitcoin next. I think if they had some belief in cryptocurrency, and they might just take some of their wealth and move it to Bitcoin, if anything. So I mean, that's what we saw. Bitcoin does not really get hurt at all this week. I mean, Bitcoin's as we speak, it's at all-time highs, while Ripple is getting delisted by a new exchange every hour. So I don't think that the bad news for Ripple is going to be bad news for Bitcoin.
Well, I think it's a short. We had a short-term blip this week. I think there's always an initial short-term blip. I think long-term, no. I think long-term, you're right. But these people sell the news. People sell ridiculous news sometimes. Sell them just ridiculous news. And I think if they really get shut down by the SEC, that's some people will sell Bitcoin. They just don't know the difference, and people just sell the news. Is it temporary? I mean, we'll see what it happens. Any of you have anything else to say about the possible ramifications for Bitcoin if it does get shut down?
Well, I'll say that I think this time around the money is a lot smarter. You look at the big players right now are putting tons of money in the market. You didn't hear Guggenheim or Michael Saylor or any of these people come out and say, I'm going to put $100 million into XRP. No, you didn't. You haven't seen that once. You haven't even seen them talk about putting money into Ethereum. And so if you compare it to like when some of these other people were getting into Ripple, for example, like back in 2016, 17, earlier, whenever, I think back then there wasn't as much understanding of Bitcoin by the broader population and in the investor population. And there was even less understanding of what some of these altcoins were. And, it was all blockchain, not Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. And that narrative has totally changed, So you might be right that the markets aren't gigantic right now. Although they're, bigger than they've ever been, but, so some people might, there might be a temporary blip, but I mean, I wouldn't even call what happened a blip. It was barely a blip. So I don't know. I'm with Rabbi.
All right. And Gigi, any final thoughts on that before we leave Ripple in the dust here?
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
All right. Pound that like one. Okay, so that was a big story for this week, but let's go beyond this week. It has been quite a year. All right. There were some weak hands back in March. And there were some strong hands too, and I got a big smile on my face because I was one of them. And now those strong hands have really big smiles on their faces because once again, another day, another all-time high. Last night, down the chimney came another all-time high. For those of you that sit by your chimneys on this day for some reason, I don't know what you do. But okay, so that was big news. But what triggered all this great news? For me, the biggest news of the year, I've said it many, many times, was Michael Saylor. And back in August, when it became apparent that there was a corporation that was going to use Bitcoin as its treasury reserve instead of dollars, I mean, I was going crazy. And it seems like it's exploded from there. But I wanted to get your guys' take. We've all lived through this wild and wacky time. And what were your big stories of the year? So we'll start with Bitcoin Rabbi on this.
I think the stimulus checks. I think that the idea that right now they're debating more stimulus checks, and it's like 600 or 2,000. I mean, the helicopter, the money printer goes burr. Basically, that is the story. That there's no one, one senator or something that's talking about why we shouldn't be printing an unlimited amount of money. I've heard it from from Trump. You hear it from all the Democrats. I heard it from my governor Andrew Cuomo. Everyone is full on to the money printer, print and print, and I think that it tells people, smart money, well, dollars are not going to be what they used to, and it just makes people question, what is the value of the dollar. So I think that became so mainstream and pervasive, like the UBI. I mean, it kind of started with Andrew Yang and what's it called, the universal basic income, just printing money and giving people money, which we kind of already had that with welfare and social services and stuff, but it's just becoming a bigger and bigger part of the economy and of the mindset that we can just print and hand out people money. So there's is that real money anymore? So Bitcoin as an alternative, every year that Bitcoin gets older, it kind of gets more cemented into the consciousness. Like Bitcoin, it probably has 90% awareness in the United States public. So it's like, it's not anymore new. It's 12 years old now. It's just getting more cemented as a real possible alternative.
All right, that is a very interesting story of the year. I think it's going to be even bigger in 2021. Obviously, we still don't know what check we're getting. It's funny. Someone said I should be ashamed of myself for encouraging people to spend their stimulus checks on Bitcoin. I mean, this is how normified some people are. They really don't get it. We're getting our money back. Either we can use it on stupid things, or we can get real money, or we can try to save. But most people aren't into saving, and that's why we're all unique beasts here in the Bitcoin overlay. Gigi, what is your big story of 2020?
Yeah, I think I think the GigaChat is probably the best and most positive story. But for me also, the crash in March was kind of, I don't know, like when the coronavirus hit and the world economy shut down and everything tanked, including Bitcoin. For me, and I think Brekkie was on this call as well. There was like I'm not sure. Like there was like an emergency call with some people with Hess and just to discuss what happened there. And I was saying, like to Bitcoin, nothing happened. So it's always sunny in cyberspace, and just blocks were coming in like clockwork. And it was just a fire in the real world. Like it was just that FinSpace exploded. And for me, the biggest news, so to speak, was that just Bitcoin worked like clockwork every single minute of the year. Like everything is standing in cyberspace, and Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin's gonna be fine, and it just has to continue to do what it did in the last couple of years, and I think we'll be fine next year as well, and that's super bullish. And another thing that I'd like to mention that that surprised me, and that says something, because I try to keep up with recent developments, but this came out of left field, I think, was Adam Curry with Podcasting 2.0, and that we have streaming sets now. And that was such a great surprise that this happened like this year, and the Sphinx Chat guys implemented it, and you can actually launch a podcast there and earn sets and streaming sets, like the concept that Andrea spoke of a couple of years back that sounded like science fiction. It's here now and it's working, and I've been using it a bunch, and I just love to see all those different strands of Bitcoin develop simultaneously.
All right, that is sweet memories from March there, when the strong hands gathered together to reassure everyone. But many people panicked. Many people sold. And yeah, that Adam Curry thing is cool. And it will be interesting to see how the Lightning Network develops in 2021. It's been kind of overshadowed by these institutional buys. And I mean, to each his own. I'm not too interested in the technical Lightning Network stuff. I love this institutional money coming in, but there's so much here for the technical person, for the finance person. We're gonna have a wild and wacky 2021. I want to thank. We'll get to Gigi's stories in a second, and by the way, guys, this is the last This Week in Bitcoin for the year. That's why we're doing a wrap up of the year. Next week will be January 1st of 2021, the This Week in Bitcoin show. So we got $5 from shutting this from the sky. He sent and thank you, dude. He says XRP is a scam. Well, I don't consider it a scam. I just consider it, it's not a cryptocurrency really, but it is what it is. People should know what the thing is.
No, I think it's a scam. I think that the amount of disinformation, no, because it's about being a scam. You know, it's not clearly defined. But if you present something falsely and lie about the history of it, lie about its functionality, and apparently lie about your partnerships and say, oh, everybody's partnering with us, and then it turns out from secret documents that you were paying them and they were at a loss to partner with you. I think that's actually a scam because it's fraud. I mean, they haven't been charged with fraud, but I consider that to be fraudulent if you're misrepresenting the facts.
Ooh, wow. Pound that like button for Bitcoin Rabbi. He makes a good case there. He really does. And yeah, it's so crazy. You know, we've got a coin. It's not related to Ripple. I mean, it's kind of strange that people bought that line. For me, it was just so obvious. So that's why, I mean, the two are the same thing, the company and the coin. But you make a legitimate point there. Hey, we got also a comment here. Bitcoin versus gold is another story of the year, says Steel Horse 2004. Yeah, that was an interesting story. But not that many people care about gold. Gold is old. Bitcoin is bold. Pound that like button. Brekkie, what were your big stories of the year?
Big stories. Well, first I wanted to touch on something I think Gigi said about putting your stimulus check into Bitcoin. And I do want to say that, you know, obviously if you need that money to pay bills and things in the meantime, yeah, don't put it into Bitcoin. But if it's extra money, it's helicopter money, you don't need it for anything in particular. Well, there's an amazing Twitter account it's at Bitcoin Stimulus. And the latest from them says that if you were to have put your $1,200 stimulus check in right when you got it, it would now be worth $4,400, up 267%, which that ain't bad. That ain't bad. So, I think you're muted. You muted?
Your story of the year.
I mean, it's hard. It's kind of a combination of stories. You know, I think the Giga Chad Michael Saylor kicked things off in a big way. Corona obviously kicked everything off. But to me, the biggest things is the ongoing flippening of hearts and minds. You know, you're seeing guys like Scott Minerd from Guggenheim who, like, never in a million years would I think that he would be, you know, the guy to say, oh yeah, we have a $400,000 Bitcoin target. You know, to me that's absolutely wild. And the fact that it's so much easier to pitch Bitcoin to people, it's this unfortunately for, you know, the short-term world, given, you know, what's caused all this, but great long-term for Bitcoin, you know, it's this perfect storm. So I'm just really excited to see what happens next year. And I expect more of the same. I mean, I think we're not up to predictions yet. We're gonna hold off on those. Yeah.
No, this is a predict. I mean, predict. Oh yeah, not yet. Yeah, that'll be the end. You're right. Sorry, got 2020 and 2021 confused. I'm so enthused. We're in the freaking golden age, baby. I'm looking forward to 2021, baby.
Just a point. Nobody mentioned the halving? The halving happened this year. Everyone remember the halving?
Oh yeah, Man,
but it doesn't matter because it was priced in, so it doesn't matter. So.
No, I have the thread to prove it. Like, I was partying for 2 days straight, and I was posting memes 24/7 on Twitter. And great time.
It's different now than then. You do that all the time anyway.
Oh, by the way, that's also one of my highlights in this halving thread. I posted the meme that Elon now posted a couple days ago with you're trying to concentrate on something else, and Bitcoin is just you can't help but look at Bitcoin. But I won't describe it any further because we want to keep it family safe here, right?
Yes, indeed. You know, that's a great point, bringing up the halving and how it was. I was very excited about it beforehand and during. And it was right near the time that the virus came out, so the virus dampened it in some way. The price might have been higher if the virus hadn't happened, but over the long run, it did what it was supposed to do. Okay, we're living through the post halving. I mean, that's the biggest part of the halving. The most fun part of the halving is the post halving, and that's what we're in right now, baby. So it is funny that no one's saying that, you know, the halving was the biggest thing of the year, but because it's been overshadowed by all these things. So it just shows how exciting the space was this year and very unpredictable. So I want to thank GK, He sent $4.99 in the super chat, and he said Shabbat Shalom, and we're gonna have a good Shabbat. Don't worry. There's a few of us here on the chat on the show today that celebrate it, no doubt. All right, so let's get back into current news real quick. This is from the Be Careful and Privacy Department. The Ledger lost people's personal information, and the story just won't go away because I think the information is now on the dark market or something like that. And it's a good end of the year lesson that don't click on any emails that you get from someone that you think might be from Ledger, and don't just never enter your recovery seed into a computer. I'll start with Brekkie on this one though. Any take on the Ledger situation?
I mean, it's just sad, and it kind of highlights the ongoing problem with companies being required to take information, or companies taking information and not getting rid of it, or not being as responsible as they should be. We'll see how it plays out. You're seeing some of these threatening emails and letters going to people, and I like to hope that no one will actually get physically hurt. It's more just intimidation tactics. But we'll see, and hopefully it's a lesson to anyone who's new to the space, because like when I first got into the space, I didn't even think about privacy. I was like Ian Bellina. I kept all my passwords in an Evernote type thing. Bitcoin changes you and makes you a better person, and you learn about OPSEC, operational security, and thankfully, like I'm much more comfortable with my setup now. But Gigi was kind enough to look up and see if I was on the Ledger list, and my email was. My address wasn't, and I guess I had moved since anyway, so it's a non-issue for me. But if you're new to the space, don't give out your information willy-nilly. Don't sign up for 100 exchanges. Don't do all these things. Think about every move you make. It's an opportunity to learn from this. So yeah, and there's plenty of people in Bitcoin who'll give you advice if you need it.
All right, Gigi, you've seen the list. Please elaborate.
Yeah, it's scary. Like, it's all kinds of messed up. It's messed up how Ledger reacted. I think they reacted really badly, kind of lying about how big the leak was and what was on there and so on and so forth. And they still didn't really handle it properly, I would say. But yeah, things like that happen. So everyone should take some personal responsibility, and as Brekkie said, use it as an opportunity to learn about OPSEC and other things. Just like if you're ordering stuff that has to do with Bitcoin, it's really worth to not send it to your home address. Maybe send it to your office, or set up like a package forwarding service, or set up like a drop-off box or something like that. And also be just be careful around your emails and your phone numbers, because all this information can always be linked. So don't use the same email address for everything. Just set up separate email addresses. There are also online services where you can set up temporary email addresses, stuff like that. Sometimes it even makes sense to get a burner phone for certain things, or at least second SIM card. Because the thing is, like as Brekkie said, he is on only the email list, so it feels kind of safe. But if he uses the same email at another service, and there is a data leak again, and that contains the address, then it's the same thing. You can always cross-reference that information. So you kind of have to be careful. And I really like the example that NVK gave, like how big of a deal this Ledger leak actually is, because you're not just buying a hardware wallet because you bought like $10 worth of Bitcoin. It's like having a list of high-profile people that are really interested in like high-quality, high-security safes. And the whole list got leaked. First name, last name, address, also the floor and the number on your door, and your phone number, your email address, everything. And every one of those people has like a high security safe. And if you're motivated, and maybe if you're a little bit drunk, and if you have a little bit of leftover energy, and like you need money, it might make sense to go there and knock on some doors. Like it's wild. It's really, really wild. Like I looked at some area codes where I grew up and where I'm currently living, and there's like hundreds and hundreds of people there. I know for a fact now they have cryptocurrency. Like you can't know if they're Bitcoin or not because it's Ledger, but still, it's really messed up. And just the fact that it got handled so poorly, we still have a long way to go in the space that companies handle it better. And also, I think we have a long way to go that people really take their privacy more seriously, because in the end, privacy and security are kind of the same thing, especially in the real world. Like privacy and security are two sides of the same coin.
Wait, I want to see, were there any other interesting things on the list, and where did you see the list?
Well, the list is around. So if you look around, it was posted to Pastebin, and there were download links in the original forum, and it circulates. So it's very easy to get. It's just like text files, and you can search it also very easily. And there were some interesting people on it. Like you can easily cross-reference it with Twitter accounts as well, because a lot of people use their real names on Twitter. And like Raul was on there, for example, and some other people. And there was some funny things that I was able to find, like some people used really nasty email addresses, for example. And I found probably a dozen of my real life friends or so. And a lot of people reached out to me as well to check for themselves and the friends and family, because I announced publicly that I have the list. And there were a lot of people on there, a lot of known Bitcoiners as well. And so, it's messed up. So I was joking, the good thing is I now have the phone numbers of a lot of my online friends, so maybe that's one silver lining.
One thought that I had was I looked up my city and I was like, I could make a whole like crypto meetup group, email everyone, be like, hi, I found your thing on the Ledger hack. There's about 70 of us. I didn't know anybody liked Bitcoin in my town.
Great way to start a meetup and convert everyone to Bitcoin only.
Yeah, there's a positive right there. I want to say it's always good to have a fake email address to have ones without your name on it. They can be as disgusting as you want to make them, but just don't connect them to your name. Don't use them for anything that you're going to connect to your name. But it's good that for years, growing up with email, we all have fakes. I'm sure we all have some interesting ones that we've used and ditched over the years. They're free. All right, Bitcoin Rabbi, any take on Ledger?
Yeah, I watched the Andreas did like a 2-hour-long live stream with Jameson Lopp and a couple other people talking about this. And I thought that they made a good point that there's really very little likelihood of physical attack based on this. There's not that because I mean, especially if you're in the United States where people have security and guns and things, like to go into somebody's house who bought a Ledger. I mean, first of all, they might have bought XRP and it's going to be worth nothing anyways. So their Ledger isn't going to be, securing them that much. Another point is if you've got, you might not keep it in your house, you might keep it. So to risk going into somebody's house for what they might, to try and find a USB stick they might have somewhere, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's as a realistic worry that most people have to deal with, even if their address was on there. But more so is the phishing that people need to really understand. I know people that have they've gotten phished or they've plugged into fake websites or something like that. They've typed in their 24-word recovery seed. That is the main thing. I mean, I've gotten the text messages, I've gotten the fake emails from Ledger. So that's the more important thing I think people need to really understand about. And I recommend everybody switching over to multi-sig. That there needs to be that you don't have a single point of failure for backing up your Bitcoin, because it's just so dangerous and so easy to get lost or stolen or destroyed or something. So that kind of is leading towards my predictions of multi-sig. I think that it's been a kind of a sleeper news of the year of the developments in multi-sig wallets, and I think that's going to be a much bigger and maybe even more important than Lightning, because frankly, people aren't spending everyone's holding Bitcoin, but not that many people are spending it. So there's a much bigger market of people that want to securely hold their Bitcoin, and that's what multi-sig does.
All right, we're getting close to those 2021 predictions. I want to just read from the comment section. Shutting from the sky. He sent $5. He said, "Sorry to beat a dead cat. Ripple partner MoneyGram now says it never used XRP or Ripple Net." Yeah, I mean that's not shocking. One of the things Ripple liked doing, I remember, was dropping these big names, saying these banks or MoneyGram, they're using us. And maybe they experimented with them once. And of course, now that things are going bad for Ripple, the people that were sort of associated with them are going to drop them like a rock. So no shock there, no shock there. But when you're a centralized coin with an office, you're going to have a marketing team, and you're going to hype yourself up and exaggerate things on the way to the top. And on the way to the bottom, people are going to say, no, that really wasn't true. They're going to try to get away from you. Surfer Jim, but thank you for the $5 there and the comment shutting. Ripple, I mean, people do like to talk about Ripple. I mean, Bitcoiners like to talk about it. I think they want to make it clear the difference. It's so important to point out the difference. They're not the same. They're so centralized, decentralized. One can be sued, one can't be sued. One has an office. I mean, it's so obvious, but the newbies out there, they see it on Coinbase. Everything looks the same. Diversify for the sake of diversification. Surfer Jim says, "Merry Xmas and Happy New Year to all you great Bitcoin plebes. Looking forward to spending next year with you guys. By the way, it never turns color when I type." No, it turned color. It turned colors. All right. People are joking around in there. So let's. Oh, and I want to say the shirt that I'm wearing. It's a new shirt from my buddies at CoinBeast, and I've been doing their TikTok videos. It says, "Be a unique beast, CoinBeast," and you know that I am a unique beast, and I encourage everyone to be a unique beast. So let's go to Brekkie with your unique beast. You're a unique beast out there on the West Coast. So 2021 predictions on your part.
2021 predictions. On the boring side of things, I think we're going to see many, many more companies adopt corporate Bitcoin standards. I think we're going to see many of our friends and family come around and start stacking if they're not already stacking. But I'm going to come out and make a bold prediction. 2021, we will see a nation state come out and formally announce that they are adding Bitcoin to their reserves. I don't know which one it'll be, but I think it's going to happen. And when that happens, all bets are off.
All right. I one of these years there's going to be a nation state, and you're right. All bets are off once that happens. It's just we're one day closer to that. Who knows when it will happen? But I'm glad you put down a prediction. 2021. Here's a specific question though. How do you think the wallet regulation will play out in 2021 with the U.S. Treasury Mnuchin and all this? Mnuchin will be gone, but
I don't know. At the end of the day, it doesn't affect Bitcoin. It does affect how people interact with Bitcoin. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think anything can stop Bitcoin at this point, short of, global nuclear war. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, what's the worst case? Every time I withdraw, I only withdraw less than $3,000. Like, who cares? I don't know. It's not good. I don't like that this is happening and they're trying to shove it through the last minute. But on the flip side, we have allies now. We have people like Cynthia Lummis and the two congressmen, I forget their name. Cynthia Lummis is one of 100 senators. She's at the very top of U.S. politics. And I'm hoping that she becomes even more influential and a lot of people start listening to her. And, if you saw her on the news pretty recently, somebody was asking her about something else and she just brought up Bitcoin. Like, she is a Bitcoiner. She's like us, and if she's anything like us, which means that you walk into a room and within 5 minutes you're talking about Bitcoin, well, that means that they're going to be talking about Bitcoin on the floor of Congress and of the Senate. And that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I want to say one thing about, I did want to just bring it up. FinCEN is now accepting public comments on its proposal to extend AML regulation to non-custodial wallets. And Jake Travinsky shared that. Bitcoin Rabbi retweeted that. So I linked to that below. He says, the comments matter, so you can leave comments there if you're a U.S. citizen about what you think about this proposed wallet regulation. To me, it's just it inhibits creativity and just new just businesses in the United States. I can't think of the word that I'm even. My brain's going wacky there. Innovation. It inhibits innovation, but there are ways around it. And I mean, it's companies like Coinbase and exchanges that really have to worry about it. Individuals, it doesn't really affect that much if you control your own private key. Okay, let's get back on track here with Bitcoin. Well, Gigi, your predictions for 2021.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of things that most Bitcoiners agree that will happen, like the boring stuff that Brekkie talked about. I think also Schnorr and Taproot and some other developments will continue to go live. Like it's a long process, but I think we will see those kind of things, and I think we will see a lot of interesting technical developments there as well. I agree also with what the rabbi said, that 2021 might be the year of the multisig, because it will be obvious to everyone that it's a very smart idea to have it just distributed even among jurisdictions maybe, and just have it not only foolproof in the sense that it's not the end of the world if you lose one of the keys, but also it should be really, really hard to access your main stash. Like if it's your whole wealth that's stored in Bitcoin, it's just a good idea that it takes you a month to get to it. Like looping back to the ledger leak, just the phishing mails alone, I think they always they already got more than 24 Bitcoin or something, one of the groups. So those phishing mails really work, and I think it will just escalate from there. Like it starts with simple email and SMS phishing, and then you'll start to get official letters in the mail that look like they are from the IRS or something. And I also want to point out, like, I agree that it's I hope you don't mind that I go to a darker corner for a little bit, because I agree, like in the US and in most parts of Europe, it's not a big deal that your physical address is known and that you're a known Bitcoiner. Like it really isn't. But in other places of the world, it really is. And so in terms of the ledger leak not being as dangerous as people make it out to be, I agree in general, but it really depends. Like if you're from a place where everyone is poor and crime is high and the currency is going down the drain, and you're a known Bitcoiner and people have your address now, then that's really a problem. And so I to tag on to that, my prediction for 2021 might be that peacetime might be over. I think that Bitcoin will go like it will melt faces so extremely hard. I'm not sure if it might be the start of the not so peaceful transition. We'll see. Like I think we were living in peacetime the last 11, 12 years. I mean, I don't really count the first couple of years because it was so obscure, but I think now big players start to take notice. The private sector wants to capitalize, and the public sector, I think, wants to step in. And once the public sector wants to step in, I think peacetime might be over. So I think, to end on a positive note, I think 2021, the late part of 2021, we will truly see the first citadels in meat space forming. I think Bitcoiners will just vote with their feet, and they will start to do jurisdictional arbitrage. And we see already Bitcoiners getting like 2, 3, 4, 5 passports and moving to Portugal and whatnot. In the US, everyone's going to Texas. So I think we will see the first quasi citadels forming in meat space. That's my prediction in 2021.
All right. And Bitcoin Rabbi, your predictions.
So just in response to Gigi about public sector intervention, like, and with those wallets, I think that we're at this point now where enough important, powerful people are Bitcoin holders and are positive on Bitcoin, and there's enough of an industry around it, and with the whole, altcoin crypto space, the businesses and the investments there that also give a protection, that I don't think that it's an optimistic view, but I don't think that we're headed, at least in the US, in a free, relatively freer country, really hard crackdowns. And I think that this wallet regulation was a little bit toothless. I was actually, concerned that it might have been worse, and it might even get more. I think if anything, it'll get more watered down. But honestly, I was really surprised that it was that exchanges need to report Bitcoin transactions and withdrawals. I kind of figured that was happening anyways. I mean, it seemed like, was it before it was $10,000 and now it's changed to 3,000? I don't know. If the fact that it.
Sorry to interrupt. It's they would have to verify that you're sending it to an address that you control. So like Coinbase, if you were doing anything above 10,000, they were already reporting you.
Right.
But
I'm just saying that the fact that it's not really about self custody and about transfers between individuals. It's just another added data point from the exchanges that already are doing KYC and already reporting things. It doesn't seem like it's that major of a effect. So I wasn't so upset. am planning on if I find the time to do one of those reports and comments. That's why I retweeted that. I think it's a good idea for a lot of different people to, from different perspectives to share their voice. And my prediction, I think we're going to see the first $10,000 candle. We're going to see a $10,000 daily candle. I don't know if it'll be up or down, but some face melting. Last year, Adam, we met on Hanukkah, and we had a special Hanukkah show. It was, end of December, and you asked me about my prediction. And last year, the only prediction that I had was that we would hit all-time highs within the year. So that worked out pretty well. Nice. I didn't expect it to happen the way that it did, or, the crash in March. I went and looked back at what I wrote then, it was such a blurry time. I was trying to figure out what my headspace was. I know that I didn't sell any Bitcoin, but I was like, what was I saying? So I looked back and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm at peace. I'm serene. I'm in this. So that was my view then. I was dealing with all different kinds of stuff, with not besides for Bitcoin, like with school and the synagogue closing and all kinds of craziness. So I'm looking forward to getting back to normal in this coming year. Just really, it's all of this COVID stuff has a huge effect on my life and school, and I mean, I'm just busy with it. So I'm excited for, somewhat, at least personally, a return to normal. And I think it's going to be a really booming year, 2021.
We had another all-time high a few hours ago, and 2017 was like the year of the all-time high. Every month, every week, every day, there'd be a new. It was crazy. Do you think 2021 will be like that, like 2017? Is 2021 the next 2017? Bitcoin Rabbi.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is. I think this is going to be a like I said. I mean, you got the only way you get to Bitcoin at $400,000 or something. At some point, you're going to need these $10,000 moves, per day. So I don't know if it's going to be one at some point when when we break 30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000. It's going to start really ripping. I mean, it's the same way. I wasn't here. I did not see Bitcoin under $1,000. The first time I ever looked at Bitcoin was in the middle of 2017, and it was already over $3,000 at that point. So I never saw. I'm trying to remember if I saw the first $1,000 day move or not, if it was around that time.
It was December when that happened, when it moved.
That's when it was like 2,000, 5,000. Yeah. That was when it went from 12 to 17 back to 10, that kind of stuff. So at some point, we're going to have to get used to the idea that Bitcoin can move $10,000 in one day. Because that's
in both ways, people have to get
both
ready
directions.
Have huge drops too. You're going to have to have just be ready. Don't panic. If you didn't panic in March, you probably won't panic when it drops 10,000 in the future. I agree. I don't know if it's. I think that's a very interesting prediction. $10,000 candle in 2021. That's reasonable. It's reasonable. All right, so we've gotten to the end of the show here. I think we've talked about all the topics, all-time high and all that. We'll go around it for conclusionary remarks from everyone. Gigi, maybe you have something to say about the all-time high or anything, but anything you want to add, anything that was left off, what you're doing, your book, anything.
Yeah, no, I just want to say we're going to see the 10K candles. We're going to see all kinds of candles, and they're all going to be green. I don't believe in red candles anymore. Like the people that are now moving in, they're making sure that there are no red candles. So if there is no catastrophic failure, all the surprises will be on the upside, and just the large candles that the rabbi is talking about, they're all going to be green. I'm sure of it.
Well, Gigi, I'm a believer in the whole 210,000 block cycle. I love fun times like anybody loves fun times. I like that all these big names are coming in. I still think 2022 it will, the price will drop from 20, just like it dropped in 2018. I think 2022 it will drop from the madness of 2021. So I don't know if you agree with that. Do you think we can still have down years, because there are more in Bitcoin, there's more downtime than uptime, really.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Like, I think it will be very similar. I think it is kind of different than 2017 because just the crowd is different, but still, we will have institutional level FOMO and we will have a short squeeze, and then it will get very stupid, and there won't be many Michael Saylors that are so convinced that they're saying, like, I'm gonna hold that for 100 years. And I truly believe that when he says it, because he held through his stock when it was worth practically zero as well. So there won't be too many people, so that it will be oversaturated again, and people will just drop Bitcoin again. For
one big difference, there was no real DCA in 2017.
That's true.
People were not, there was no stacking sats. People would buy a chunk of Bitcoin and then sell it when it went up 20%, or sell it when it went down 20%. And so that's why things were really, right now, people are accumulating. I mean, there is a huge amount of accumulation, as opposed to 2017 was really speculation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm glad I was accumulating, baby, back then. You say people weren't.
Proud.
There were some strong hands out there that have never sold a Bitcoin for fiat. Pound that like button. All these guys are linked to below, by the way. If you want, their feeds are all awesome. Okay. Well, since Bitcoin Rabbi, your book, anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I like I said, I'm busy. I've been so busy this year with non-Bitcoin things, but I love to be able to, still be part of the conversation. Book has been great. We're in about 12 different languages. Still hoping to get a few more out, but that's just been going on and doing its own thing. I have mostly been helping people like behind the scenes, like people come in and in the DMs, like I've joined the ranks of the helping newbies, like who have questions with their hardware wallets and stuff. So that's where I'm putting a lot of my time, trying to help people, lead them in the right direction.
All right. Brekkie, we'll leave you with the final thoughts here. What you're doing over there at Swan, anything, any stories you want to talk about, anything you want to add? The floor is yours.
Sure. I want to add something quick to what Gigi was saying. I'm kind of on Gigi's side. I think that most of what we're going to see is going to be upside. There will be cycles and intra cycles and all that stuff, but we've got the constant buy pressure from stackers and people using things like Swan Bitcoin, and then we've got the FOMO inbound from all these different companies and nation states, God willing. And the other thing about Bitcoin is that it's not the whole point, but like, what do the Austrian economists say, right? Like, we're trying to get out of these fiat-driven bust and boom cycles. So maybe this is when Bitcoin starts to actually, act the way we think it will. But final words. You can find me on Twitter. Sign up for Swan Bitcoin. It's awesome. I stack literally every single day. I'm stacking right now. You can smash by. Gigi and I work there. The rabbi is a advisor and huge fan and supporter, and it's just we like to have a lot of fun. So check out our shows. Check out.
There's nothing more important you can do for Bitcoin than just stack Bitcoin. I mean, that's that's what everybody can do to help Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would also say, like the winning strategy is just auto DCA. If you still have fiat, just stack as much as you can until hyper Bitcoinization is complete. And when hyper Bitcoinization is complete, that's the time to spend it like normal people, like let everything continue. But until that happened, just sign up to an auto DCA service. If you're from the US, Swan Bitcoin is the go-to, I would say. And just, stack as much as you can, stack as hard as you can, and listen to the Meister. He has been telling you for years.
All right, dudes, we got 20 seconds left, so I'll conclude it. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's been an awesome show. Pound that like button. I'm Adam Meister, BitcoinMeister, the Disrupt Meister. We do this Week in Bitcoin show every freaking Friday, even on the 25th of December when some people are doing some things. Check out every day, new show, disruptmeister.com. Shabbat Shalom. See you guys later. Bye-bye. Thank you. All right. It didn't end for us.